My name is Derek, I'm from Blantyre in Scotland and I am a financial crime investigator. I train because I enjoy it. I like structure in my life and I like the structure of having a plan at the start of the day or throughout the day. I enjoy the challenge of training as well and pushing myself and being quite competitive with myself on a daily basis. In terms of training, there's two that come to mind. The most recent is my run for charity from Hamilton to Leeds, which was a self-supported run over 4 days. It covered 205 miles through Scotland, north of England. I really enjoyed that. It was challenging, there was points of complete misery. I really enjoyed getting to the end. I raised a good amount of money for the shelter charity as well and was supported by people in work. The other thing that I'm really proud of was a few years ago doing a Movember challenge where I ran 400 miles in the month of November. That was effectively a half marathon every single day. That was also quite miserable because it meant setting aside 2 to 2.5 hours every single day in the month of November and running sometimes the same route over and over again. Again, raised a good bit of money for Movember and was recognised for Movember. I think with any of the challenge, the lesson I've learned is the description of the name of the challenge sounds scarier or harder than the challenge actually is. And something that sounds physically really difficult in most cases isn't that physically difficult. You prepare for it and a lot of the times it's more the mental side of things. You can train as much as you want for like a long distance run, but that's maybe about 10 or 20% of what you need. The rest of it is the mental resilience to keep going and getting through, and you work on that during your training. One of the reasons I actually got into running, like a lot of people, was during lockdown, where there was nothing to do, there was nowhere to go. I ran a loop around my town, which was 3 miles, and when you could run a bit further or you could go out further, I decided just to extend that loop. So it became a 5-mile loop and it became a 8-mile loop. And it wasn't about the distance, it wasn't about the time, it was just those places in my vicinity I hadn't been on foot before, so I decided to run there. And before I knew it, after about 6 months or so, my loop was now about 20 to 25 miles long. And it was a distance that people normally drive, but it was nice to go and see these places on foot. Places that people had never seen before, parks that people had never seen before, was able to take pictures of that. It was a small adventure, but it was my curiosity of seeing these places which made me start the run in the first place. I think in general, I like doing things that maybe people haven't done before or few people have. Like the kind of Movember campaigns and the run to Leeds. No one's ever run to Hamilton to Leeds because it'd be a completely pointless run. I did it for a very specific reason. I like doing those kind of things, not necessarily races. So if there's something that no one's done before, or perhaps a record that's not been broken or established yet, that's the kind of thing I'm drawn towards. So since training with Omnia, which has been a few years now through different events, my life has become more structured because I set aside time for training. I know what the future looks like in terms of targets, where I want to hit. I think as well it teaches me how to structure other parts of my life as well. So I know where I'm training, but I also know how to set aside for other things, know how to set aside for friends and family, learning new things. Again, with the Omnia training plans, there's a lot of exercise I've never done before. I need to learn how to do that, and it's a transferable skill of learning new skills, taking on new information. The advice I would give to someone starting on a hybrid or endurance base, or really any physical thing, is the same advice I would give someone if they were wanting to start like a musical instrument. Is with a musical instrument, find a song or songs that you want to learn on that instrument and learn that song, and you'll pick up everything else along the way. So if it's piano or guitar, don't go and learn the chords and keys and such. Learn the song and you'll learn the thing. I think with endurance or the hybrid thing, pick something you want to achieve. So whether it's a race, whether it's a distance, whether it's a PR on lifting, focus on that and everything else will work. Because if you go in and just start throwing weights around and run around after a while, for me personally, if there's not a purpose with it, it's quite hard to stick to that. So I would focus on something rather selfishly that you want to achieve and everything else will work alongside that. The next challenge that I have coming up, which I've just started, is the Omnia plan for the squat and sub 5-minute mile. My usual training was all involved long distance running. I would like shorter running sessions, so I went for that. I understand that it is one of physically the hardest things to do, is to do the squat and the mile in the same way. My squat is nowhere near a 500 pounds, so I would like to try and work towards that, and I'm sure I can get stronger over time. The 5-minute mile I know is physically very, very difficult, and yeah, I like the challenge, I like working towards things, and yeah, we'll see in 16 weeks if I've managed to make either of those.